Farmington Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, I'd like to introduce the Zoning Board of Appeals members. My left is Tom Lay, Jody Phoenix. I'm Tom York. My right is Todd Ruthven and Kelly Cotter. And we'll introduce the town staff, the ever endearing Sarah Mitchell, clerk of the board. Dan Del Fiore for code enforcer officer, Ron Brand, director of development, and Jeff Graff, the town attorney. I'd like to review the emergency evacuation procedure, the door that came in and the door she guys right to emergency exits. The announcement, the meeting will be conducted in accordance to the rules and procedure of the Zoning Board of Appeals adopted on February 27th, 2023. Can I get a motion and a second to approve August 28th meeting minutes?
Make motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. I'd like to attest to a published legal notice. There was a legal notice published on November 19th, 2023 for tonight's agenda, ZB 1101-23, David Lowerly. Okay. First up is the continuation of the public hearing for ZB 0301-23 Fowler Family Trust, 6176 Hunters Drive, Farmington, New York, 114425. The applicant is requesting an area variance to the provisions contained in Chapter 165, Attachment 1, Schedule 1 of the Farmington Town Code. The applicant wishes to create a third lot that would have a minimum lot width of 30 feet. Town code requires a minimum lot width of 125 feet. The proposed lot would be parts of a proposed re-subdivision of the lot number R5-A with a tax ID number 29.13-1-5.100 and lot number R-5-B with a tax ID number 29.13-1-5.200 and crossing subdivision. These three proposed lots would be located along the west side of the Pheasant Crossing and within the Pheasant Crossing subdivision tract. All lots are zoned RS-25 residential suburban. We'll continue this public hearing. Anyone like to speak? Please state your name and address.
James Fowler. Fowler Family Trust, 6176 Hunters Drive here in Farmington. So to update you, on October 10th, we had a meeting with Ron Brand and the chairperson of the planning board and several other members of the town. I think also the engineering group at that meeting. And out of that meeting came up 4 pages from Ron Brand of what we had to do in order to make you guys happy. We had a subsequent meeting afterwards where we showed the concept. These requirements that Ron gave us changes the whole concept of what we're going to do. Every one of our lots were 25,000 square feet or more. 25,000 square feet we had by Ron's standards, where the towns did not meet the 25,000 square feet that's needed. They also came up with another code saying that in a development, your lot width to the depth cannot be more than 2.5 times the width of the property. doesn't make any sense to me, but anyways, that also required another lot to be changed. With those requirements, I'm assuming at this point, there is an exception to that rule of 1 time or 2.5 times the width of a lot. And according to Ryan, even though there is an exception to that, the town can't find it in the codes, but they can't find it. And I'm assuming they're not going to supply me that exception. That correct?
Well, right now you're addressing us.
Okay,
That is
all right. So I'm assuming they're not going to give me any code that shows what that exception is. So we're moving on the direction that we have to be no more than 2.5 times the width of one of the lots. So we're moving in that direction. I'm waiting for an answer from Dan, which I can take care of at a meeting next week about an issue. That should take care of the last of my questions with the town. And I've read your resolutions for tonight. Reading the resolutions, I'm assuming that the portion about me supplying you data applies to Ron's letter of October 10th. Those would be the requirements that I need to meet as in your resolution.
Right, those are for the planning board.
That's correct. And as far as I know, there's no other questions being asked of the zoning board other than that I supply the information to the planning board.
Right, for secret to make their evaluation.
Right. So as long as the letter from the town on October 10th is asking for requirements, I'm okay with that. Anything beyond that, or in the future, that will have to be discussed. Fair enough?
Okay.
Good. That's all I've got to say tonight. Unless I can ask a question.
Well, staff comments.
Yeah, first of all, the meeting was with the planning board chairman, not the zoning board of appeals chairman.
Right.
And it was in regards to the planning board resolution passed earlier this year that identified the items that the code required and the planning board asked for. We had, since that meeting, met with the applicant and his engineer, Dan and I, saw a revised drawing, which we understood would be submitted as a new application, and that this application pending before the planning board was going to be withdrawn. What's before you tonight is a public hearing that is being continued because the planning board hasn't received the necessary information they've asked for, or an explanation of why that should be waived. And as a result of that, we're standing here once again before the public with a public hearing that we can't take any action on. This is more than 1 or 2 times that we've done this, and we need to bring this to some kind of closure because it's not fair to the public, not fair to the applicant, and not fair to the planning board or this board. So give the planning board what they're asking for, let the planning board determine whether it's complete or not, and move on. The resolution that's before you tonight is a resolution to continue the public hearing until your meeting in January, or at least 2 meetings in December of the planning board and 1 in January, if not 2, before you meet again. By that time, hopefully, whatever it is that we're going to be receiving will be received and reviewed and determined by the planning board to be complete or incomplete. But at some point, you know, you've got to figure out how long you want to continue the public hearings. Waiting for information that was promised you way back in August. That's all I have to say.
No,
Noted, we did add the one requirement that wasn't there before about the 1 times 2.5, 2.5 times the 1. You just found that recently. That was added to the list.
Okay.
Dan?
no, I concur with Ron. We have had meetings with the applicant and the engineer for the applicant. He has shown us a different drawing, which we have informed him that would come to a different application. It would not be an amendment, it would be a completely different application that would have to be submitted. So at this time, Ron's correct, we're waiting on answers to the planning board on the current application, or if we're going to see a withdrawal of that application to submit a new application, so. That's what we're waiting on.
Be no withdrawals.
Oh.
Okay. We will submit our data this week before the 6th of December.
Any other comments from the public, anyone online?
There's nobody online tonight.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Comments?
So the new drawing that's going to you guys has to have a new application to it?
Correct.
Because it's not.
Right. But you're planning on submitting a new drawing?
I have to leave that up to my attorney to decide this week or next week how we're going to submit that data. Your attorney who's sitting over on that chair understands where I'm coming from.
Any other comments from the board?
So what we're saying, or what is being said here is that you're not sure if you're gonna submit the new application, even though you're being told that what you're looking for requires a new application.
I'm saying I'm waiting for my attorneys and my engineers to give me the paperwork to deliver here to your building. We're talking December 7th. December 7th is the deadline for submitting new application. Correct?
We're confirming that date, hold on.
December 7th, I was given by,
December 7th by noon, but I
Right.
think he has to submit to the planning board by the 6th. That was, is that not?
I don't know completely, but if the 7th, that's fine.
I have the 7th, but Dan has told me the 7th is when new applications have to be in by noon. We're gonna submit our data before the 6th. As you can see, we're indicating that there's going to be a new application. I can't say that this time. Attorneys get very complicated.
Right, but if you, I guess what I'm getting at is there's a new drawing that's going to require a new application, why are we keeping this application open?
Because I'm waiting for my attorneys to tell me what to do. I have until the 6th or 7th to submit whatever I'm going to do.
You see what I'm saying?
Right, well, what he's saying, he can't answer that because he's not sure what he's doing yet. His counsel recommends him to either pull the application or submit a new one. So as far as the continuation of what we have.
Yeah, but I understand that, but it's what I'm, if the drawing's different, it's going to require a new application period,
If he submits one.
and that's your point.
That seems to be the green.
My plan is to wait for my attorney
Right.
to tell me how they're going to proceed in submitting this data. I asked,
Either way, if you submit a new drawing, it's going to need a new application. Period.
I'm not.
That has nothing to do with it's the requirement,
Okay,
right?
I hear you.
So I guess I'm just trying to understand, if you change the drawing, why are we keeping this one open? And why don't we just do anyone?
Right, we'll have to wait and see what he does before we can have him.
As I said, the gentleman sitting over there, the town attorney understands where I'm coming from, don't you?
Well, I can't say that I understand your point of view. If you're simply saying that you want advice of counsel,
No, I'm not saying,
course.
I'm saying, you know, why I'm saying what I am.
I can't say that
I know you can, but, so anyways, he does, let me put it this way, an attorney in this position knows what's going on here. And I'm not an attorney. So I'm gonna wait for my attorney to tell me exactly what to do. And that will be before the 6th of December.
Okay. Any questions more from the board? Okay, so you have a resolution in front of us for adjournment and continuation of public hearing upon the request of the area variance of the proposed lot R5-C of the Fowler Family Trust subdivision to January 22nd, 2024. It's posted on the website. Mr. Fowler has read it, obviously. And I have a motion to waive the reading and accept it as submitted by the town staff.
Make a motion.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, then. Public hearing is continued.
I dismissed,
Well, yeah, the meeting's continued.
yeah, okay.
No, I wouldn't use the word dismissed. It's we move on to our public hearing. DB 1101-23, David Lowell. The applicant is requesting an area variance to provisions contained within chapter 165, article 5, section 58A of the Farmington Town Code. The applicant wishes to erect 12-foot wide by 34-foot long open lean-to to be attached to the existing pole barn located in the front yard portion of the lot. Town code requires all accessory structures in any zoning district to be located in the rear yard portion of the lot having a principal structure. Property is zoned A-80 agricultural district and is located at 230 Ellsworth Road in the town of Farmington. Who would be speak on behalf of this?
That would be me.
State your name and then address, please.
I'm Dave Lowry of 230 Ellsworth Road in Farmington. Reading the draft variance proposal. It looks like it's got everything that I was going to bring up. And it was very complete. So I'm not sure what I would add, except to ask the board of the officers if they have any questions to me.
Okay, well, we'll get to that. Is that all you have?
Like I said, the paperwork is very complete. Really impressed. I would say that from where the location of the barn, I think it was the barn was built before the house was. If I understand what the sequence is. And there really isn't. It's way at the back of the property, so there isn't really much in the backyard. The position of the barn, it was in the survey map I sent, is a little bit closer to the road. But everything that we want to build is well out of sight of the road and all the neighbors. And behind the barn on the northwest side of the barn. There's really not much other place that we would want to put a barn. Build another one, because all that would have to be in front of the house. We really don't want to do that. The existing field, the elevation is such that putting something in like that. It could be engineered, it could be done. But it'd be a lot more difficult to make it that way than what we're requesting. But it really is about all I have. It really is where we want to put this thing is probably the best place for it.
Okay.
That's really all I have to say.
All right, staff comments?
Yeah, the property did have an area variance granted a number of years ago. On the basis that that location shown on your drawings for the proposed addition is to that area variance that was granted for that pole barn. And it was done based on the previous zoning board of appeals finding that it would cause the least disturbance to the environment without having to get into a lot of site alterations or moving earth around to find a level spot big enough to accommodate a barn. And if you take a close look at the aerial photos that were provided, you see that the rear of the house, the swimming pool and the backyard looks out into a wooded area, a natural setting. You'd have to do an awful lot of earthwork back there to get something level, you know, or to build a structure in the rear portion. In as much as the applicant is putting the addition on the rear side of the barn, the existing pole barn, the impact on the neighborhood is minimal, given the fact that it's not viewable from passing motorists, and there's extensive tree around the property lines to buffer it from adjacent properties. So the recommendation is to approve with those conditions, which are normally your standard conditions: building permits, site lighting, town code, exterior of the addition to match to the practical, all of the above. So thank you for those kind words. I appreciate that. Anything else? Okay, I'm here.
Any other public comments? No one online? Any comments from the board? Questions? Oh, sorry.
It's all right. So just so the board's aware, this has been posted with a public sign. We haven't mailed to all the neighbors with no responses for or against in this project. As Ron did mention, it did have a variance beforehand. So this is an additional variance to that first variance, obviously. Code does state that this can't be located in the front yard. So this would be 100% variance, just so the board's aware of that. But I do echo Ron's comments that when you look at the property and the layout, I think what we've recommended in the draft resolution would be appropriate, so that we're not affecting the environment by cutting down trees and changing the landscape. Because it's not just building something behind the house, we would also need a driveway to get to that facility. So you're talking a lot more impervious surface. So, but those are all the things that staff looked at on this project, and those are the recommendations to the board.
Comments from our board? No more public comments? Very good. So I guess we'll close the public hearing for that one. We'll move on to deliberation decision. I have a motion to secret.
Yeah, that's for this one, David.
Yeah.
Make a motion to waive the reading of the secret resolution, approve the resolution submitted by the town staff.
Second,
I'll second it.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And then can I entertain a motion for findings and decisions to waive the reading?
I make a motion to waive the readings of the complete findings and decision resolution and read the determination condition allowed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Determination of the zoning board of appeals based upon the above factors. The benefit to the applicant does outweigh any known detriment to the community or neighborhood, and therefore the request area variance to erect a lean-to accessory structure attached to the existing pole barn located within the front yard portion of the lot is approved with the following conditions. 1. Structure shall be constructed and attached to the rear portion of the existing pole barn. In accordance with the approved building permit to be issued by the town code office. Enforcement officer. 2. The lean-to building addition is for an open air structure only. 3. The exterior of the lean-to addition is to match the extent practical exterior of the existing pole barn. 4, all site lighting associated with the building addition shall comply with the lighting standards contained in chapter 165 of the town code. And 5, all inspections shall be performed and accepted by the town code enforcement official prior to the issuance of the certificate of compliance. That,
Just have one question on it, if I can. Just want to make sure that the language rear portion is rear to the property and not rear to the barn.
It's, which reference are you, there's,
So number 1, on the conditions, it says rear portion of the existing pole barn.
Right.
So the pole barn, we're looking on attacking to the side towards the back of the property, not the back of the barn.
So
I
code
just wanna make-
would say that's the back side, because we look at it from
Back of the property.
where the road is how we look at the structure, so.
Be clear.
Yep.
Thank you.
I would have no questions.
be it resolved that the board in Nathan's determination has satisfied the procedural requirements under New York State town law and the town of Farmington town code. I have a roll call vote for this resolution.
Kelly. Aye. Todd.
Aye.
Jody. Aye. Tom Lay.
I,
Tom York.
Aye. It's passed, and you have your variance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
and I'm gonna tell them to come in and see you.
Yeah, so you guys submitted the building permit. One of the code officers will review it and we'll reach out to you when it's ready.
Okay, thank you.
Other board matters? Do we have it in front of us right now?
Not that I'm aware of. Do we have anything for December?
So we do have an application for December. Also, you were handed your 2023 rules and procedures that we would like you guys to start reviewing. So that we can discuss it in December and hopefully approve it in January. Also for your December meeting, we'll have you review your submittal dates. Those will be available for January and meeting dates. So submittal and meeting dates so that you guys can approve those in December. And like I said, you do have one application that will be in front of you for December. I will not be here, but August Gordner will be in my place that night. Since I will have to be over at the courthouse that night, so.
What date is the December?
It's the 18th. So it is a week earlier due to the Christmas holiday.
Okay. Any other public comments? Okay. Director of Development.
The only thing I have to update is that the Conservation Board is wrapping up its update to the Open Space Index. They're meeting down the hall tonight to look at that. Planning Board will be meeting on December 6th, and they have a new project coming in, which I'll let Dan talk about. The other thing that's pending from them is a report and recommendation to the town board on a rezoning of the approximately 70 acres of land at the southeast corner of 332 and 41, which is proposing incentive zoning with new town roads, major intersection improvement at a pre-planned and approved location from the state DOT. And we continue working on other code amendments as time allows.
Yeah, I have to be perfectly honest. Ron, what project did you want me to comment about? I wasn't really listening to you.
So, you know,
I was on vacation and I'm still there, I guess, so. All I heard was that I was supposed to say something.
but we have it on tape now.
He was on vacation.
Yeah,
Yeah, so what project was it? that you
the
want?
paddocks.
Oh, the paddock. So the planning board at their next meeting will start the coordinated seeker review, the 30-day review. For the paddock, which was the power incentive zoning, if you might have heard of it going through the town board, it's for how many lots over there?
182, 186.
186 residential, 4 commercial lots along 96. Both entrances are off in 96. It goes from 96 all the way over to just about to the Colette or to the railroad tracks is probably better. So it's going to be in front of the planning board for their review. They're going to start seeker, but then they'll start doing the subdivision and site plan. They're running them together. So that project is quickly moving, and I think that's going to be looking to be moving forward in the spring. So they're trying to get all their approvals in place.
186, the new number?
Yes, that was the reduction number.
And previously it was 216.
So the lots are a little bit bigger, a little bit deeper. So also a reminder that we still have a clerk of the board position open. So if you know anybody that's interested, I'm sure Sarah would be very happy not to sit in that position anymore. And like I said, your next meeting is December 18th. For one application, it's another one for a front setback for a porch.
You guys looked at the code for that yet? I know that was on the.
So it's in a different development. So we've addressed it in the one and we didn't address it in the other, so.
Okay.
It's something for you guys to look at again.
Okay.
That's all I got for tonight.
No motion.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.